Good afternoon, everybody. We are here at 1651 Briar Trail. We are going to be trying to do a repair or doing a repairability assessment. This is according to the standards set forth by the National Academy of Forensic Engineers, or NAFE, or NAFE. What we have here is we've identified a damaged shingle here, and we've marked out the scope. We found that there is a shingle break there and a shingle break there. So that tells us that it's 1, 2, 3. In order to assess this shingle, what the procedure does is it calls for us to take this damaged shingle out and put a new shingle in its place. In order to do that, we have to break the seals of the row above it and then the second row above that. The reason that is because this shingle is nailed in two places. It's nailed here and it's nailed up here. So in order to get this shingle out, we have to get the nails above 2 layers. We're also going to have to break the seals here and there because these are still adhered. For comparison, we have, and careful not to step on it, comparison on this other slope, so we're in a completely different slope here. We have a control square where there's also damage right here. We marked it out. We have, and we're not going to touch this at all, so we can see that it is similar in nature, similar in scope. A damaged shingle just in the middle instead of one or the other side, but it looks significantly enough close to the shingle we're working on that it serves to be a significant and a close enough control square. Now, a couple things I want to outline first. We talked about what we're going to do. Tools we're going to use. We have a flat bar, their standard flat bar to break the seals. We have a roof snake, a green roof snake from Pack Tool, to attempt to try to get nails in without lifting the shingle and lifting it up too high. I'm not a big fan of the Pack Tool, or the roof snake, but I know a lot of insurance carriers are, so we'll give it a go. If it does start to, however, cause problems or cause damage, then we'll stop and we'll revert back to standard methods. And we have my hammer here. Now notice it's not a traditional roofing hammer. That's actually a hammer that's been in my family for several generations. I have sentimental value to it, and there's actually a reason I'm using that specific kind of hammer, which we'll get to in a bit. So before we start, it's important to talk about what could potentially happen on a roof when you're doing a repair where you're talking about damage. So the idea is, can this roof sustain repairs? Well, it's important to note what would not sustaining repairs look like. So what we're doing is we're setting parameters here. So what we're going to do is, according to NAFE, these are the criteria for what would be damage. Now, we often talk about creasing, which is the first one on the list, but that's not the only thing that could be categorized as damage during a repairability assessment. We also have tearing. Tearing is often found at the nail heads when the shingle is being taken out or the nails are being lifted. You can have tearing there, and this is more than just like the nail head pops through. This is actually tearing, a vertical or horizontal tear, which, if it happens, we'll point it out, of course. Cracking. This is when the shingle is so brittle or so rigid that instead of doing a crease, it just snaps like cardboard. Hopefully that's not the case. If we do start to see that, we're just going to stop. We're not going to go forward because it's a good way to destroy the roof. The next is exposed fiberglass mat. This kind of is synonymous with creasing, but it's kind of like the next stage in creasing. You can have a crease without exposed fiberglass mat. In fact, here you kind of have a little bit of creasing, and then there's the exposed fiberglass mat right there. So there's a little creasing, and you can kind of see the progression there. Next, you have granule loss. Now, in an older roof, you're going to see a little bit of granule loss anytime you mess around with a shingle, whether you're just walking on it, inspecting it, or doing something much more aggressive in doing a repair assessment. However, you should not have a cascading rainfall of granules. So how do you assess for that? One of the things I like to do is a tap test. I'm coming down here where we're not going to be working, so I'm not conflating anything. And you just tap, right? Now, I'm not getting any, oh, there's one little red up here. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Of course, not doing it now, but there's like 2 granules coming down. I would not call that granule loss because it's 2 granules. You get a cascading waterfall of granules or enough that you can see it without zooming in super close, that's granule loss. That would be significant enough to say, yep, that's damage. When you're talking about progression of damage, it starts with granule loss, it goes to creasing, and then it goes to exposed fiberglass mat. What happens before this creasing shows up is the granules come out, and then they start to fall out, and then they leave behind the creasing. So that's why granule loss is an issue and considered damage. And finally, we have material transfer or mat transfer. This is when the seal is broken, and this bond is broken, it leaves behind residue from the top and or the bottom shingle where it was glued down. It's tar, not glue, but where it's glued down, and it damages the top and the bottom shingle. So sometimes it's just a little bit, and we don't count, or at least I don't, when it's a small amount. But when it's a divot, when it's a chunk, when it's a large enough, usually like bigger or the size of my pinky nail or bigger, that's when I start to say, okay, that's enough to call it a material transfer and damage. The reason also we have this bottom section of 2 shingles marked out on our scope is because when these 2 shingles, the seal is broken, if there's material transfer on these, that's going to affect these bottom shingles, and those are damaged. So hopefully not, right? But if it happens, then they're included in it. Now, one other area that may have damage that isn't written on here when you're dealing with a 3-tab is impact damage. Now, if you read the actual procedure from NAFE, you'll notice they also talk about delamination. Delamination applies for a laminate roof, architectural dimension roof. We are not on that kind of roof, so delamination does not apply in this case. But impact damage is very, very, very prevalent when you're talking about the roof snake. The roof snake has been shown to cause impact damage. Hopefully we don't see it, but if it's used the way it's supposed to be used, which is laying flat on the roof, it almost always causes impact damage. Hopefully not this time, but you know, we'll give it the old college try and do the best we can to minimize damage. But if it causes it, again, I'm going to give it 3 shots to not cause damage, not cause a problem. After 3 times, we're going to abandon it. So with that said, I'm going to grab my flat bar to start popping these shingles. I'm going to hand the camera off to my cameraman, and you can leave the tools, I'll get it. Also wanted to notice here, the RLS from State Farm said that the shingle on the roof was weathered gray from GF, the GF Royal Sovereign weathered gray. So that's what we have here, an unopened bundle of weathered gray. When it comes time to pull the shingle, oh, I got something in my hand. Time to pull the shingle and put the new shingle in, that's what we're going to do. For now, we'll leave it sealed up. And then I have my box of roofing nails. So I'll hand this over to my cameraman. Just make sure the camera stays on, please. Make sure I don't have anything stuck in my hand permanently. And that hurts. Oh well. Alrighty, I'll grab my
fiberglass.
Yeah, something like that. All right. And if you could, as long as you can see me in the shingle, that's sufficient. So.
Would you prefer I get behind you or in front of you?
No, that's fine. As you can see, as long as you can see what I'm doing.
Yep.
So, all right, you got the scope area.
Yep.
That's the most important part. They don't need to see my ugly mug. But so this one's already lifted. Now you notice when I'm trying to break the seal, I put my hand just above the shingle. I'm not pressing down, but I'm putting my hand here as a guard. It's because when you're trying to lift the shingle, if you're popping up a little too hard or you're going too fast, you can flip up this way, and that action can cause the shingle to come up and lift and crease or cause some kind of damage, and you're trying to avoid that. So you put your hand over top, stretch your fingers out as a safety guard only. You also want to be careful that you don't dig your fingers in. If you have fingernails, I don't, but if you have fingernails, you be careful of that, because fingernails on 3-tab shingles, especially older ones, can dig in and artificially represent some kind of damage. And we know it's not, but you know, you want to just be careful of that. So again, Just putting it in, breaking the seal. My hand acting just as a safety guard. And that one's already lifted. Okay. Go. Now every time I stop in between a procedure, I'm going to look and assess if we have damage. And if we do, I'll call the camera over and we'll assess it. So right now we've just broken the seals. I'm going to check to see if we have mat transfer. If we do, I'll call the cameraman over to come take a look and I'll show and point it out. So in order to prevent lifting it too high, we're going to lift these two shingles and then up to look under to see if we have mat transfer. And we do. So cameraman, if you could come over here please, on my right side. I'm going to point to it. I'm going to have to kind of get down. I'm going to lift that shingle about 2 inches or so. You can see I'm pointing to right here. This chunk right there came right up. That is material transfer, that is damage. You can also see on this side, lift it up a little more, you got a little bit of chunk there as well. You can bring the camera over, you can, it's just off camera. So tilt the camera. There you go, turn left. There you go, right there. That right there is a little bit, that's not as bad as the other side. All right, pull back a little bit. Let's see on the other side. Let's see on this next shingle. Anything on here? Yep, same thing on this one. So right there, my finger's rubbing right there. There's another divot right there. And there's another divot on this side too. That one's even worse right there. So I'm going to lift the shingle about 3 inches. So we already have mat transfer on several of these shingles. All right, might as well stay here. Pull back a little bit. I have a feeling it's going to be similar. Yeah, there's mat transfer right there. All right, we got here. There's mat transfer there. Here, I'll get it. Don't bother touching the shingle. I don't want to conflate things. There's mat transfer there and there. All right, we just keep on going down the line. That one's actually pretty good. All right, so that's good. That's a blessing. That one's pretty decent. That one has mat transfer there and there. All right, go down the line. That one has mat transfer there and there. All right, and last one. And that one has mat transfer on every single one. 1, 2, 3, except the fourth one. So the fourth one's okay, but it has mat transfer every one. All right, so you can go back up to the ridge now. I'll step back from the shingle here, so you can get back in view. So we have mat transfer on almost every single shingle. That's already a problem. So we're gonna pull the nails, and yeah, we'll do what we can. But we already have confirmed damage. It's widespread. But we'll keep going. You know, that's the whole point of the procedure. So, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. And you see the field?
Yes.
Good. So lifting to see the nail, and we're gonna pop the nail. Nail comes out nicely. I'll get these nails later. Shingle did not tear. That's good. So shingle tore a little bit. This is the one that's coming out anyway, so I'm not super concerned with it, but it does inform me about the other spots. There we go. There you go, that's fine. Nail came out fine. There we go. Nail came out fine. So far, one small tear in the already damaged shingle that's coming out and getting replaced. So we just gotta be real ginger, real careful with the next ones. Still got me in camera?
Yes.
All right. Nail head went through, but it did not tear. That's good. This is the shingle break, so I got two nails here. Flat bar slipped, but it didn't tear, as it'll pull back in time. That nail is going to come out. There we go, got it. These shingles are double nailed, which is good. That's not code on a roof at this pitch, but it shows the builder was being extra careful. That's why I'm going back and forth left to right here. If I'm just rushing, I could tear the shingle. By tear, I mean like so. So, almost done. Okay, that should get the whole nail out, or the whole shingle. That should be all the nails. Now, a couple things I'm looking for in this shingle when I pull it out. There should be some kind of marking on the cellophane tape. Now, what is a cellophane tape? Cellophane tape is a little piece of plastic behind, on the back of the shingle. This helps to identify, there's the last one. This helps to identify who made it, when they made it, where they made it, how they made it, what the guy or the lady who made it had for lunch. Not really, but so this shingle should, but the cellophane tape is very, very effective at identifying. So if this is a GAF Royal Sovereign shingle, it should have markings on it, like MAF with an arrow, right? And you'll see that on the one we open up. If it doesn't have that, it's not a GAF Royal Sovereign shingle, or at least not a new one. So I'm going to bring the camera down here and show cellophane tape, this little piece of plastic. So there is no markings on that cellophane tape. That tells us this is not a GAF Royal Sovereign shingle. However, let's come over here, and for comparison, we'll open up the new bundle. Here's a lip. Got one. And this is the weathered gray that RLS identified. Color looks good. All right. New Jersey's not a matching state though, so I'm not really worried about color. I'm more worried about compatibility. So, let's take a side by side here. All right. So, let's look at this. We have it's upside down. I turn around so you can see it. We have M, MY, and then a bunch of numbers along there. Let's see if we can get a better one. That one's all hard to see in the camera. This says, excuse me, not MY. Yeah, it says MY, and then some numbers. So there's markings on here. Right? There's definite markings on there. That's how you can tell that this is a GAF Royal Sovereign shingle. So what happens when we take the tape off? Is the stuff still there? I can't even get the tape off. Yeah, here we go. So, here we go. That's a little easier to see. MY6084. So here's the old shingle. Tape still on it. You still got this on camera here?
Yes.
Right. So, markings aren't faded, they're just not there. There's no markings at all Not that they're faded, it's just that they're not there. Versus this, where there's definitely markings. And look, the tape is even wider. You can zoom up to where my thumb is, my right thumb. You see how the tape is wider? It's just different shingle. So, now this is the one I took the tape off, so we don't want to use that one. I'm going to fold this, so we never use that one. So this is the shingle we're going to use. Again, color looks halfway decent, but New Jersey's not a matching state, and I'm not really concerned about color. I'm concerned about compatibility, and more importantly, like, kind, and quality. So, oh, you know what? Bring the camera over here, please. You can see a little better here. That shingle's gone. Right here. This is that divot I was talking about. You see my finger? Yep. Right there is the divot. Right here. And this is the bad one, so we don't want to necessarily credit that. But these here, those two spots there, that's mat transfer. That's mat transfer here. My finger is, that's mat transfer there. That is material transfer. So we have 1, 2, zoom out please. We have 1, 2 shingles that are damaged, plus the shingles up here that are damaged from mat transfer. All right, you can go back to the bridge. That are damaged from mat transfer. All right, let's get the new one in. Doesn't look half bad. So, get some nails. Now, the way you're supposed to use a roof snake, and don't put nails in your mouth. the way you're supposed to use a roof snake, you put it in this little lip like so, and then you slip it down here. You slip it down here, and it goes under the shingle. So this slips under that shingle, and then you can just simply nail here without having to lift the shingle. The problem is that in order to nail the shingle straight, which is required by every single manufacturer instructions on the market, you can't just lay it flat. So if you notice, it's coming at an angle, or it's coming in at an angle. It's not going in straight. That's going in straight. That's going in straight. Look what I have to do with the roof snake. I have to lift this tail. So I'll hold it up like so. But it's easy for me to do that when I'm doing this. When it's under that tab, I can't see it. Is it going straight? I don't know. Maybe, probably, hopefully, but I don't know for certain. However, if I do manage to get it down to the point where I now lift it off, and if it's down far enough, I then take it off the lip and I put it over top. Then I can nail here, which will drive it the rest of the way. However, when I'm doing that, the roof snake now sits like so. The impact that touches here transfers down here, and the energy is also being transmitted to the roof below it. 9 times out of 10, that leaves crushed granules beneath it, and it looks an awful lot like hail damage. Now, I don't care at all what it looks like. It could look like flying elephants. What it is impact damage. And the entire point of this tool is to avoid damage, not to simply create another kind of damage. So if you're avoiding one kind of damage, and maybe it avoids creases, I don't know, because it's to avoid creasing, right? Maybe it avoids creases, maybe it doesn't. But if it avoids one kind of damage but causes another, it's a net loss, because you're still causing damage, and damage is damage is damage. However, we're going to give it a go, and we're going to do our level best to try to make this thing work. Like I said, after 3 times, if it doesn't work, we're going to call it and try to go back to the normal methods. Hopefully we can get it to work. But if not, I don't know. Center here. Yep, that's the new shingle. Yep. Okay. straight. That's good. And it's straight. All right, so that's neat, decent. A little bit of crush there, but nothing too bad. So good. Not bad. A little crooked. Maybe I can try to fix it. So it's starting to go a little bit crooked. Maybe I can try to fix it. Yep. Look at that, I fixed it. That's in. And we do have some crushing here. So I'm gonna bring the camera over here, and you can probably just try not to stand on there. So right there, that dark spot right there, that's the crushed granules from where the roof snake was. All right, you can go back. And we'll go and keep going with this. So far, we're effectively 3 for 3. 2 for 2, I mean. Hopefully we go 3 for 3. I think we'll get 3 for 3. Nope. Nail bent. Nail bent. Yeah. Nail bent. Alright. That's one. Now, it can't go in the same hole because it's too big now. The hole, when it now comes out, it enlarges it. So you have to go in a different hole. You have to make your own hole every time. I think that one went in like a champ. Wow. Okay. Now, I do want you to come over here and take a look at this. Because this really shows you, you're going to have to kind of get down on this one. Right there. I'm pointing. You see where the nail went in, but see all that white stuff? Those are crushed granules. That is the impact damage from the roof snake. It has destroyed all those granules around it. So how you can back up? I gotta get some more nails out anyway. So we are actively causing damage with the roof snake. But we'll keep going because we're not causing creasing, at least anything I can see. So we are literally trading one kind of damage for another right now. Before I lift this shingle, please do come take a look at this. So right here we do have some creasing. And I'll blow that piece off of there. So right here, you see my fingers? Camera, yeah, right there. That was not there before. That black line. We have granule loss, we have creasing there, and up here at this corner. So we do have creasing now. We didn't even lift the shingle yet, except pull a nail. So, all right, you can go back. Got it. Good. Hey, we're doing pretty good with this now. And creasing's worse. Creasing is actually worse. So now we're not trading damage for damage. We're increasing the damage because the creasing got worse on that shingle. Try it. Oh, badly bent. Wow. Ooh, look at that. That's like sideways. that time. Yeah, I think so. No, I don't think so. Very good. All right. The shingle break here, so I have to put one there and there. Oh, yeah, it bent. It bent again. All right, so we're gonna bend in the roof snake. We're going to bend in the roof snake because every nail that I pull out of there that's bent is a hole. And every hole is a chance for water to get in. So we're going to try to do our level best not to lift these shingles more than a few inches. This is where this hammer comes into play. You notice a standard roofing hammer is straight out like so. With a curve, it gives me a lot more clearance to get under the shingle, so I don't have to lift it quite as far. Also notice I'm coming at it sideways initially. Boy, can you see those granules there just flying? Look at that. Wow. I'm coming at it sideways initially. The first couple strikes, I don't have to lift the shingle quite as far. So I go like this, I don't have to lift the shingle like so. Instead of coming at straight where the shingle's like so, if I come sideways, the shingle's down like this. I don't know if you can see that angle from being up top there, but I can see it from here.
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
Boy, look at all those granules as I'm tapping. Can you see them granules coming out? Yeah, I sure can.
Yep.
Hit something. I hit something. No, nail head was bent. No, I hit something.
Oh, the nail.
Yeah, staple, I think, from the underlayment. That's weird. Whatever. Whatevs. There. Okay. So, all nails are in. I'll take the camera back now, please. Thank you much. So, let's take a look at this. What do we have? Well, we had identified that we have material transfer on all those, right? We identified that we have creasing here, right? I pointed that out. Do we have any creasing anywhere else? Not really. We did have a lot of significant granule loss from up here. We had material transfer up there, and material transfer there. We didn't have any material transfer. We had material transfer here, but not up there. So, what do we have? We have creasing. Yes, we had one shingle creased. Is it damaged? Yes, it's damaged. Did we have cracking? No, we didn't have cracking. Did we have tearing? We had a little bit of tearing, but not too bad. Not enough for me to call it significant damage. Did we have exposed fiberglass matting? Not really, no. So that's good, right? Did we have granule loss? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Did we have, somebody write this down, no tearing, no cracking, no exposed fiberglass matting. We had material transfer, yes. Did we have granule loss? Well, this is where we did the tap test, and you saw me hammering it. So we do the tap test, right? Look at those granules coming down. So we have granule loss. So we have granule loss. Not a ton. You can leave that shingle there. Yeah, just leave it there. Yeah. Now, let's go over to our control square. Again, remember, we haven't touched our control square. I don't see any creasing, don't see any tearing, don't see any, I'm not going to lift the shingle to, well, let's lift this one because this one's already damaged. You see any material transfer? No, I do not. Well, maybe a little bit right there. But I'm not going to lift the shingles here to see about anything else. So I don't see any of that on this control square. That shows that the actions on this shingle and these shingles were definitively caused by the repairability assessment. The creasing, the material transfer, and the granule loss were definitively caused by the actions taken to try to repair this shingle and take this out. Now, you saw being very, very diligent to avoid repair, being very gentle, working in a workmanlike manner. If this is the damage, and this is a better condition slope, right? The other slopes are in much worse condition. So if we can't even repair this slope, these shingles on this slope, the other shingles are going to have much worse. We can easily extrapolate, in the NAFE procedures outlines this as well. We can extrapolate that this roof is not repairable. Repairs are not recommended. So this is going to be marked as a fail. This will be marked as a failed repair attempt. Now, NFE says that any one of these can be considered damage. We have 3 of those criteria. We have 3 of those acting in various locations. So again, we demonstrated a couple things. 1, that this roof is not repairable. 2, that this roof does not have the GAF Royal Sovereign shingles. Therefore, like, kind, quality, and function are not possible on this roof. We'll get a couple extra pictures afterwards and send it in along with this video. Otherwise, if you have any questions, give me an email, give me a phone call, give me a text. Otherwise, I'll see you all around the horn.